Food safety has become a growing concern with the introduction of new technologies, questionable farming, and manufacturing practices. There are various safety assurance methods, checkpoints, and enforcement steps set in place in order to make our environment safe from foodborne illness. Änsor's Pet Food offers humane, sustainable, organic, pasture-raised products that protect the food state, environment, livestock, and our pets. We offer the most natural, effective way to make raw products as safe and as healthy as possible. In order to achieve our high standards, Änsor's uses hurdle technology as a method of ensuring that pathogens, the bacteria that causes illness in food products, can be controlled or eliminated. Hurdle technology works by combining more than one approach and using multiple methods. It operates at all steps and stages of process and production from soil to bowl. Sourcing is the first step of intervention against pathogens. Pathogen control begins with sourcing healthy livestock that are raised in their natural environment, fed species-appropriate food, and not confined. If raised appropriately, livestock won't shed off high loads of pathogens. In short, you get healthy food from healthy animals. A part of hurdle technology is our use of fermentation as a food safety and preservation method. Fermentation fights bacteria with bacteria, a microbiological science that has been used since the beginning of time. So what happens when bacteria such as salmonella and other pathogens are detected in the environment? When is it a cause for concern? What are the variables? In order to understand if a food is determined to be safe or not, let's take a closer look at the science, the policies, and the laws behind it all. The environment in which we live is not sterile, which is a good thing. Here's why. We must have good bacteria in our environment in order to control the bad bacteria or pathogens from growing and becoming harmful. It's a defense mechanism created by Mother Nature herself. There are approximately 2,500 different species of salmonella identified to date. Not all salmonella are pathogens or dangerous. Approximately only 10 to 12 species may cause illness. In order for salmonella or other pathogens to cause illness, the amount of cells in the food have to be very large. If there's a small amount of pathogenic cells, it's not a problem. The FDA oversees the pet food industry. They have a policy, not a law, that does not allow even one cell of salmonella or other pathogens in pet food, referred to as zero tolerance. The USDA is responsible for developing and executing federal laws related to the meat and poultry for human consumption. The USDA understands that zero tolerance is not possible. So why does the FDA have a zero tolerance policy in the pet food industry? Yet the USDA has a law allowing up to 25% of ground chicken for human food to test positive for salmonella. What if salmonella tested positive in store-bought human-grade ground chicken? According to the USDA, you have a 1 in 4 chance that it will, and yet that is acceptable. How is this taken into account when the raw material Änsor's purchases is USDA-inspected human-grade meat? So what does it mean if salmonella or other pathogens is detected in a raw pet food sample? Is it 1 cell or a billion? Is the cell viable or not? If it is salmonella, what species is it? Is it one of the few that cause illness? The answer doesn't matter because there's a zero tolerance policy for pet food manufacturers. Just because microbiological test results indicate potential pathogens doesn't mean you or your pet will get sick. Food is never pathogen-free. Our hurdle technology at Änsor's does not always eliminate pathogens completely, but controls them. Using high-quality sourcing ensures we are starting with low levels of pathogens. Änsor's fermentation process inoculates food with billions upon billions of good bacteria, along with beneficial substances they produce. These conditions prohibit any potential pathogen cells from multiplying and causing concern. How does the FDA test for salmonella? The FDA takes a sample that is then given a highly sensitive, specific test for salmonella DNA. The cells may be barely alive or even dead, and yet the results could test positive for salmonella. If DNA tests positive, the salmonella cells are grown in a test tube environment that resuscitates them and encourages them to grow. They are cells that possibly would never have grown to levels that would cause illness, but the FDA does not quantify the amount of contamination. What that means is this. The FDA testing doesn't test for the amount of salmonella cells or other pathogens, which would be very important information to obtain, because the fact is that there needs to be a large amount of cells to cause illness. Änsor's raw food naturally, through fermentation, has high counts of good bacteria. In this environment, salmonella or other pathogens would not survive well or be able to grow. The good bacteria crowds out and prevents the pathogens or bad bacteria from multiplying, That's a seriously effective and highly efficient food safety method. What happens when Answer's pet food is temperature abused or compromised? What if the food gets warmer than refrigerated temperatures? The good bacteria multiplies and creates an environment even more lethal to pathogens, which then causes the pathogenic cells to decrease. In fact, Answer's pet food is the only raw pet food that ensures protection from production all the way to the bowl and continuing through your pet's digestion. Answer's pet food provides pets all the good bacteria, known as probiotics, needed for good pet health. These good bacteria, probiotics, continue to prevent pathogens from multiplying in the gut, therefore preventing the pathogens ingested from causing illness. Our hurdle technology for food safety is the highest in the industry. Our method is part of an innovative matrix that discourages the growth of pathogens and promotes the health and well-being of our pets, the way Mother Nature intended.